Hey everybody, and welcome to today's Talking Reds. It's a lovely Wednesday. As you can see, my normal partner is not with me today. Now, he's been unceremoniously sacked. I'm unfortunately to mention this. It's kind of a bit of a bad thing. No, I'm only kidding. He's not been sacked at all. He's just got something better to do. I don't know what that is.
You've got someone better
and I've got someone better to join me, exactly. I'm here with my main man, Paul Senior, my partner for the European show. I know some of you out there love that show. And we've got some interesting things to go over today, Paul, haven't we?
For an international break.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, often you find on a Wednesday that we can be quite at the whim of the times, because there's not always a lot of good things happening. But this is actually quite a decent international break for a change, because obviously we've got a World Cup coming up. It's got quite a few interesting games happening, so we've got a lot to get our teeth into.
Well, yeah, I suppose where we're at now is where people are really just vying for their World Cup place. Obviously, the domestic form's really important, but this is one of the last opportunities they've got to get into that squad, or at least that preliminary squad, before it's whittled down into a final 23. So yeah, I expect that everyone's sort of up for this international break, more than usual.
And it's always nice going into one off the back of a big fat win.
Well, yes, yeah. I mean, that's good for us. Our lads can go there on the back of a 5-0, feeling good, feeling positive. You see Firmino arriving in Moscow, big smile on his face, in great form, and it's true with the rest of the lads as well. You know, it's great.
No, it is great. And one of the things that's kind of shown it to me is that Jurgen Klopp's taken a bit of a different tack this international break, because normally in the past and the March winter break he's gone off to Canary Islands and done a kind of a shadow squad training camp, but this time he's decided no, he's just going to let them off. He's let everyone who's not playing international, so the likes of Matip, Milner, we had lists of Karius, Danny Ings, Moreno. They've just given them the week off. They're just going home, and it's Klopp and his coaches who've gone to Tenerife. Now, I think anyone who's in Tenerife should probably keep an eye out on Snapchat for any kind of shenanigans. But I suspect they are probably going out there to do work, Paul.
Yeah, I said to you just before we came on air here that I felt that was quite interesting, and whether it was a focus for the summer. You know, we'll plan what we're going to do in pre-season. You know, Klopp's always put the emphasis on how important he sees pre-season. So maybe it's there. Maybe we're really going to step it up this year. You know, we've got a big signing coming in. I'm sure there's more to join them. This is what we're going to do. And also the thing to consider is it is a World Cup year, so they've got a small amount of time with the top stars to deal with. You know, so you're going to get some lads back sort of end of July, and you're into fixtures as at the 11th of August this season. So they're not going to have tons of time to work with them. So I imagine it's going to be quite intense. A lot of recovery, a lot of hard work in terms of bringing them up and just getting them ready for that first Premier League game.
No, and I think after the way that we started last season, I think it's very important. You make a really good point, though, about the kind of chaos that's going to happen after the summer, of people coming back at different times depending upon how well they did in the summer, and all of those elements. When you've got someone, such a potential key new piece coming in like Naby Keita, then you've got to really maximise your pre-season.
We've got to be thankful, I suppose, that he's not going to the World Cup, you know. So he's going to be there. I imagine they'll come back about the beginning of July sometime. And he'll be there on day dot, so he'll have a full pre-season with Liverpool. Gives him enough time to play all the early pre-seasons. Whether I don't think they've been announced yet, but you normally see a Wigan or a fixture
something
like that. So I mean, that'll be a good fixture to attend come the summer.
I'd love to see us play Accrington Stanley. Actually, they're on a bit of a tear at the moment.
Sorry.
Yeah, for anyone who was kind of up to date with the Accrington Stanley story, they've actually done really well this season. They're looking to be champions of League Two, so I think that would be a nice way to bring that little story all the way back. Yeah, definitely. You had to do that joke, though, didn't you? You're
going to throw the ball up, now I'm going to hit it, you know. So
this is what you're going to get with Paul Senior. No punches pulled, just straight action. Speaking of no punches pulled, it's time to talk about something that's a little bit more difficult. Now, the last couple of days, you've had Robbo and Mel and Craig telling you how wonderful that lad who shares my name is, and we're no different. We love him too. But Unfortunately, you're not even 9 months into his Liverpool career and he's already being shipped around. And when I say he's being shipped around, I'm not saying that the club are doing it or anyone within Liverpool or anyone with any connection to Liverpool. It's just, you know, people are talking, well, eventually he's inevitably going to have to end up in the hands of one of the big teams. And I've had enough. I'm here to put a stop to this right now. Okay? There will be no more talk of Mo Salah moving on to somewhere else. Yeah.
Well, he's already in the hands of one of the big teams, and this is it for me. We're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We're going well in the league. We're in. If you look points per game since the turn of the year, we're in title winning form.
Exactly.
You know? So, I mean, you've got Manchester City coming up. That's the measuring stick for this Liverpool team. So what about if we put them out? Where does he go? I understand that there's glamour and prestige around Real Madrid and Barcelona. But look at the project. The same goes for Emre Can. You know, look at the project that you're in at the moment. Look at what Jurgen Klopp's done previously. This side is on the cusp of something really good, and I just don't understand where it comes from. You're tearing up the Premier League.
Can we not just enjoy it for a little bit first, please?
I suppose what you've got to consider is it's an international break. There's not much being said at the moment. The papers have got to have something to talk about.
It's true. I mean,
he scores 4 goals at the weekend. He's the leading light in the Premier League at the moment. The natural thing to do, especially when Liverpool have sold their best player to Barcelona already this season, that the links are going to come.
To that extent, I can understand why people are talking about it. It's one of those things, like you say, it follows the previous precedents. However, let me break it down to you why this isn't going to happen, right? Remember, Coutinho is a very good example. How much did he cost? 150 million. Now, I think most people would agree that Mo Salah has made a bigger impact this season than Coutinho had done in any one season. So to say that he's going to be more expensive, a 25-year-old man about to approach the prime of his career, he's going to be more expensive than that. Absolutely. So who can afford him? Okay, most people are going to say there's only really 3 teams. I'm going to eliminate all English teams at this point because let's face it, the FSG would be willing to. I don't think they would be willing to do that.
Be willing to ignore release clauses to do it, you know?
No. They would be bringing down all kinds of fire and brimstone upon themselves that they don't really want to do. And let's face it, they've been in the game long enough now to realise there are certain things you can kind of get away with and certain things you can't. Selling to your direct rivals is one of them. Okay, so that's pushed all of the Manchester clubs and all of the English clubs outside. So let's look at the other 3. Now, PSG still okay. It's an easy win in the French league at the moment. Haven't really progressed in the Champions League. They're out. We're in. What does that tell you? Then you've got Real Madrid. Now, Real Madrid and Barcelona have got 2 very good players at the moment who, for the foreseeable future, are going to be their top dogs. Like, there's no denying, you're not going to be above or even alongside Messi. I mean, Neymar got a little bit too close to that sun and then he had to bounce off to Paris. So you're not going to be the main man.
No.
Now, when you look at someone like Mo Salah, being the main man he doesn't look like that's his MO.
Yeah.
He's not about being the main man at club. He wants to be the best player out of everybody. And that's what everyone should want to do. But he can do that here. And he can do that here. The only question, and the thing that this really comes back to, is that we need to win. We need to win trophies. I don't think there's anyone can deny that. If 2 years down the line we've not won any trophies, this is a viable conversation.
I think the position we're in at the moment now is, I say the same for Tottenham as well. You've got a good side, but you're not putting anything in the cabinet, you know. So you've got to deliver, otherwise lads like Coutinho, you know, they have a spell at Liverpool and they walk away with nothing. The reference I'll use is Javier Mascherano. You know, there was, people were up in arms when he leaves, but when he left Barcelona recently, you see his honours and you go, well, he's completely justified in his decision. What we need to do is say stay, and then completely justify their decision in staying. So Liverpool are good enough now to go and compete at the highest level. They've obviously got a big competition in Manchester City at the moment, and obviously the other guys are no mugs as well. This season I would say we are the second best side in the Premier League. we have to deliver a trophy, some form of trophy. Going far in the Premier League, finishing second, going far in the Champions League, maybe even not in Man City out, but going out in the semi-final or not winning the thing. It counts for something, but it doesn't really.
It's only a stepping stone. It only really counts for something if there's something else after it.
It's not something to tell the grandkids. You're not going to go, well, look at this paper clipping of when we finished second. You want to show them medals. Yeah, and
exactly.
That's I know football is influenced by money and glamour and whatnot nowadays, but there is a sporting element to this where football has want to operate at the highest level and win trophies, and Barcelona can regularly offer that. Real Madrid can regularly offer that. Paris Saint-Germain would offer that, maybe domestically at the moment, but you'd imagine long term they'll progress into a side that can win.
But there's also the human element to it as well, where someone's got to be enjoying their environment. Yeah. They've got to be happy with working with who they're working with and feel like they're getting the best out of themselves. Now, on all of those criteria, I think we're doing really well. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the atmosphere around the squads, the way that they interact on and off the pitch, he's in a situation now where he feels like the Liverpool are making him better. Now, that's not necessarily going to continue if he goes to somewhere else. I mean,
he's since he's left Chelsea, he goes to Fiorentina, does really well, goes to Roma, does really well. Now he's come to Liverpool and he's doing exceptionally well. The thing I referenced it on the main show on Monday is that there's a harmonious nature around Liverpool at the moment. It's all good news. It's all positive vibes coming out the camp. It seems like everyone is enjoying it, and that is creating an environment for Salah, which, with Firmino and with Mane and with the lads behind, they're all supporting. There's like a one common goal. There's not a Cristiano Ronaldo where there's a lot of ego, and someone else takes the shine off him. No. It comes back and creates. You've seen it a little bit with Neymar and Cavani so far this season. That these things create problems, and I don't think Salah comes across the type of fella who's self-centered and wants that.
I mean, did you see my favourite part of the whole of Saturday, despite the fact that he scored 4 fantastic goals, was how gutted he was when Danny Ings missed that chance, and he almost apologetically put it in for his 4th.
Yeah, it would have been an unbelievable assist as well.
It would have been, but I think that's the thing you look at, is that he's happy. He wants to be the golden boot. He wants to be the top scorer, but he's also wanting to do what's best for the team. And when you've got someone who's in that situation, happy where they are, sure, there's going to be speculation. We can't stop that. There's going to be, every time he scores goals, there's going to be people at bigger clubs, supposedly, who think that they can kind of destabilise him. What I'm telling you, as Liverpool fans out there, don't worry about that. We can't control that. So don't get yourself up in a tiz about it.
Chelsea have had this for a while with Eden Hazard as well, haven't they? Every time he puts in a decent performance, of what do Real Madrid think of that? What do Real Madrid think of it? Real Madrid can think about it when they're his player. So yeah, in terms of where Mo Salah is, go away. He's not for sale. He's only been here 9 months. He's happy by the looks of things. There's talks of maybe even a new contract for him. I'm sure after the season he will deserve reward and become one of the club's top earners. He's proved himself, and that's important. So I don't see Liverpool doing this again. I think where they were with Coutinho was a unique thing. He turned them down, and there was talks of him potentially going to upset the camp and saying things, and you could see it had a face on him, couldn't you, quite frankly. So it was the right time for him to go, and look where we've been since.
I was going to say, that's the other thing, is just because that we sold Coutinho and it worked for us doesn't mean to say that that's always going to be the way we do it. There is going to be a line where eventually we're going to say, look, eventually we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to keep our best talent, and I think that we're getting close to that line right now. So as I say, just enjoy him on the pitch. Don't get caught up worrying about every single time he does something good it means that he's one step closer to the exit door. Just enjoy him.
Yeah, don't resent his success.
No, just enjoy watching the lad. I mean, he's playing for Egypt on Friday. He's playing against Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo's team. So don't watch England, watch that. Just enjoy this lad playing football. That's all we really care about as Liverpool fans.
It's lovely. I like that, man. It's a lovely message.
It is a lovely message. Now let's get on to the papers. And we're back with the papers, and as we have been on a bit of an international tip as well, so too are the papers. Talking about the final countdown.
It's a lovely back page.
Sorry, final countdown always just happens
The
to me.
DJ came out.
Yeah, it's like you with Accrington Stanley. It's just like a reflex. But essentially, we've just gone past 100 days till the kickoff of the World Cup. So this March international break is really important for everyone to kind of see where they lie amongst other teams, and everyone's kind of comically playing someone who's a little bit close geographically to someone in their group, so they feel like they're a little bit more prepared. But the reason I wanted to talk about it mainly, Paul, is there's some absolutely cracking fixtures happening this Friday. You can watch England. I'm not going to tell you not to, but really. We've already mentioned Portugal, Egypt, but there's also, check this out, Argentina against Italy.
Banger.
France against Colombia.
Belter.
Germany against Spain.
Running out of words here, man.
And for the hipsters out there's also Poland against Nigeria, which I think is going to be really interesting, but these are all kicking off at the same time, so there might well be some casualties here. And Russia against Brazil, which we also mentioned. These are all happening on Friday. Now, for someone like me who just loves football, this is almost like Christmas. So if I'm going to ask you right now, which one are you watching?
It'd be terrible to say neither after all that. Argentina sounds nice.
Argentina against Italy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame Italy aren't in. I liked it at the time because I always like to see a sort of big boy suffer. Yeah. But then when it comes to the World Cup, you go, I wish Italy were in it. Holland's a rubbish, and that's a problem, I suppose, at the moment. That I like Holland. They always turn up, and the fans obviously. They always look. It's a perfect vision of a World Cup, isn't it? When you see Holland in their end, it's bright orange, and it's a shame they're not there, I suppose. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing the South American sides. I know it's in Russia, but they say they can't win it in these climates and whatnot. I think they might set that straight this year.
I think they've got a very good chance. Argentina's a really good one as well because they've got such riches up front. You really don't know.
There was something going around yesterday, and there was Messi and Aguero were in the picture, and there was no Dybala and no Higuain in the squad, I don't think. No. And you're like, well, there's not them two aren't here, but look at what we've got. The problem is, it's always been what's behind that, so it's whether they can really stand.
I mean, I think one of these years they are just going to throw as many forwards on the pitch as possible and just say, look, lads,
that
just
would be my
the
approach.
Game. I would absolutely love to see them play with Messi, Aguero, Higuain, Dybala, Mauro Icardi, Angel Di Maria. Just chuck them all on and just say, let's have a go. And what better team to do that against than Italy?
I mean, especially if you look at Icardi at the weekend.
4 goals.
Yeah, and the standard of them as well. Mo Salah's not the only footballer in Europe absolutely tearing her up. Mauro Icardi is. But we'll talk about him on the European show next week, Mo, in depth. But no, his recent performances are telling you that there's always been doubts around him, I suppose, and if you don't mind me covering them for a little minute.
I'm always happy to talk about Icardi.
He's now at the level where the top clubs who've always sniffed around but never really pulled the trigger, I think there'll be some trigger pulling come the summer.
Yeah, trigger bang. Yeah. I think so. So if you want to get ahead of the curve, then Argentina, Italy. I think that one might be an internet job. I'm not sure which TV channels are showing it.
It's a modern world. You'll find it somewhere.
BT Sport are going for Germany, Spain, which is obviously to most people the headline.
Yeah.
I think some people are saying that at least one of these sides is going to make it all the way to the final, if not win the thing.
I mean, France are my tip, but only because of the squad. I mean, individually, I'd say there's no better than France out there at the moment. But who's tearing her up? I see Griezmann started to do bits towards the end of the season, maybe with the World Cup in mind, and a big move in the summer. So I think he's starting to do it. Obviously, Pogba's not really having a great season. They've got a wealth of talent. They don't even need to call upon Paul Pogba. No. That's the thing.
I mean, the most informed Frenchman right now on the planet isn't even in the squad, and that's Dimitri Payet. But I think the reason he's playing so well is because he wasn't in the squad.
Yeah.
I think someone's turned a little switch on the back of his neck that says, there's a World Cup coming, there's a World Cup coming. So he started playing out of his skin. But he's not made the squad. They've got Kingsley Coman, who is injured, who's not in the squad. So you're right, France have got all the ingredients.
There's no tragedies with a couple of injuries.
This one.
And that's where Germany win for me. You know, Spain have obviously got Iniesta who's on the back of the paper there. Germany, you've got lads who've been there, seen and done it. And then I would imagine Brazil would like to set the record straight as well come this World Cup. A Brazil side that are seem to be gelling again. Not all about. There's no Ronaldo, big Ronaldo anymore. There's the superstars in the squad. There's obviously Neymar, Coutinho, and whatnot. But these lads have sort of they're not single-minded.
We don't know how these paper teams are going to transfer to the pitch, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing to come out of this international break. It's international managers who have had thoughts in their mind of, well, if he's in form, I can play him there. If he's in form, we're going to see the plans.
Colombia, Costa Rica, teams that actually play together. You can go far in the World Cup. I mean, we've seen years ago with France and Senegal and stuff like that. You can be as good as you like, but there needs to be a team, and that's sometimes where you think, who's the not much hype about who just get the job done. Switzerland, for example. Switzerland, they ended up finishing second in the group behind Germany, didn't they?
Yeah.
But they only lost one game in the whole group, so they're a team that can go far. You look, Belgium got a wealth of talent. There's loads of people who aren't being spoken about in terms of potential winners, but if you actually look how they perform, you go...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the draw itself is going to rely on a lot of things as well, but it's just exciting. I mean, as I said at the beginning of this, I'm a football geek here, so I get excited about the World Cup in a way that some people do about Christmas. So even just this little bit here where people are starting to jostle for position is fascinating. And Germany are also playing Brazil. That's the second game of this international break. So
it's definitely worth watching.
It's definitely worth watching it again. I mean, it's not going to be another 7-1, but it's definitely going to be a very interesting match.
These are measuring sticks, aren't they? I mean, there's lads who are trying to make the squad. You imagine everyone's going to have to perform to get into these, especially in teams like France and Germany, Brazil, where there's a wealth of talent vying for the places. You don't play well, you might not go to the World Cup. No. So these fixtures, I think, are going to be a lot more intense than what they usually are.
I think we see a lot fewer pullouts as well, a lot fewer injuries than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, you have seen that, but the thing for me is then from a club point of view, I'm worried about the people not pulling out the tackles and stuff like that. Just pray our boys can come back safe.
Yeah,
you know?
That's the one thing we haven't mentioned about the international break. Yeah, we're all touching wood here that everyone comes back with a clean bill of health.
It's hamstring season, isn't it?
Oh God. Now, we've kind of spent a lot of time talking about this, so we can only really briefly touch on the other thing I wanted to mention, which was not in that paper, but in this one. And it's the international debut of one Mr. Ryan Giggs, managing for Wales against China in the China Cup. Now, they're playing China. The other two teams are Uruguay and Czech Republic, I believe, but I'm very interested to see if he's going to try and change things up or if he's just going to say, go on again. Because we've been waiting to see his managerial prowess for this long. Is he going to start showing it all at once, or is he going to give us little drips?
The thing is, right, Ryan Giggs, he's become, because of the David Moyes era at Manchester United, he's almost like a tarnished brand. But people, I mean, this is a fella who's won what he's won. You know what I mean? What's he got? 11 league titles and stuff like that. I don't want to talk about him too highly on a Liverpool.
He did all right in his career. We can leave.
Yeah, he did all right. He did bits, but now in terms of his management, it just hasn't took off for him. You know, he's been linked with jobs which you think, really, and they've not even got them.
No.
You know, so he gets the Wales job. I think he needs to make an impression. I see he's taken a few of some quite influential people at Man United to come to the Wales camp with him as well, which is interesting that they've wanted to get involved. And I just think he might want to try and make an impression. I think he will change things a little bit, and it needs changing. I mean, from where we were in the Euros, it hasn't quite happened for Wales.
No, that's true.
You know, I don't know if people like Aaron Ramsey and stuff have had dips in form, and people
Bale's
like
been
Bale's,
out injured a lot.
He only plays competitively like Ryan Giggs did himself. So Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he does. I imagine he's going to come in and put his own. Even if he wanted to play whatever system Wales did play, I think he's going to change if it changes.
Which could be good news for our lads in the Wales squad, the likes of Ben Woodburn, Harry Wilson,
maybe even Danny Wells.
Yeah, you never know. We're going to see them get some more minutes. So keep an eye on that situation. Have we got time to have a little dig at United? Yeah, I think we've got time to have a little dig at United. Now, normally, I'm not that kind of guy. Y'all know that already. But we saw this in the paper today. Actually, Gibbo pointed it out, bless him. And I just couldn't ignore it. Essentially, Manchester United are considering handing out song sheets to supporters at home games to improve the atmosphere at Old Trafford.
Well, you know what we say? Fergie's right. Your fans are shite, as proved by this.
I mean, they're not the first team to have thought about doing something like this. They're the first team I know of to have actually announced it in a newspaper. And essentially, what you're saying is, we're not good enough for doing it ourselves. I think anyone who even dreamt of suggesting that here at Liverpool will get laughed out, and they should be laughed out there.
Yeah. I think Man United have obviously they're a global club, I suppose, in a similar sense that we are. They've got a huge ground, and there's a lot of tourism around what goes on there. I must say, on the reverse, that Manchester United away support are fantastic.
They are
absolutely.
I mean, they're annoying as hell, but they're good supporters.
But the difference in going to Old Trafford and maybe Man United coming to you, that is a different thing, you know. So. I mean, it's cringe, isn't it? It's plastic flag territory.
It's a bigger question, isn't it? Because I think when you think about an atmosphere, creating an atmosphere at a ground, that's what you want. That's what this is all about. It's being able to go to a ground, feel an experience, and the players will feed off it, and they'll hopefully play better. But a lot of the time, you see that atmosphere starts from the players. And when you consider the difference between going to watch a game at Anfield, the kind of football you get to see on the pitch, it's a lot easier to get up when you compare it to the kind of football they're watching.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not fucking songs of praise. Do you know what I mean? You can't be sat there with your hymn books and bashing out Country Road or whatever it is they want to sing. You can't do that.
No.
So,
I mean, we're lucky as well. I mean, in terms of the actual songs, whenever a new song, a Liverpool song comes out, it's all over social media.
It goes viral. I mean, we've got LA at the moment,
exactly.
haven't we? I mean, I've been mumbling a few words of that while I've been getting used to the lyrics, I must admit, but I'm on it now.
But you feel excited about the new song because it's come out. The new songs are normally born out of new exciting things happening on the pitch. That's the organic way they start. Yeah. They start on the pitch, then we respond in kind. I think about Andy Robertson, and we started singing for him at City, and now that's kind of snowballed. You can't force it. You can't force these things. As much as you may want the end product, if you're not doing it in the right way, it will be so obvious.
I think we're very lucky as well, though, because we've got a big concourse culture, you know, and then we've got things like Boss Night and stuff like that, where a lot of new songs are started. There's a lot of good pockets of the Liverpool supporting fan base who come up with some lyrical genius, it must be said. And I mean, I would say we're leaders, or you know, we're up there with Celtic do quite well with songs as well.
We haven't got a club song yet, though, really, have we?
It's because he fucking fumes every time we do. So, you know, if your manager's going to kick off every time you sing for him, well.
See, I've been thinking about this, though. Surely there's got to be one we can do for like the end of the game, like when it's 5-0 and we're 10 minutes to go.
Still gets annoyed by the looks of things. You know, I remember like I think there was about 3 minutes to go, 4-0 up. You start singing his name, and he almost fronts the cop, you know. So if he doesn't want it, leave him to
Well, if you see him out in Tenerife, tell him to chill out, enjoy the songs. Now, as always, there's normally some new shows happening in the Anfield with Wilder Anfield Rap, and they're all going to be told to you by the magic of screen.
Normally, like that Rafa thing there. I like that.
Normally, I'll leave it up to Gibbo, but as you can see, he's kind of derelicted his duty on that score, dropped the ball, whatever you want to call it. Now, have you enjoyed this is your debut, isn't it?
It's my debut, yeah. Video's not normally for me. I say I've got a face for radio, so so Robbo hasn't invited me. I mean, no hard feelings, Gareth, if you're watching. There's hard feelings.
Well, I mean, he's got quite a busy guest list at the moment. Kopi, Melissa, Cara.
I mean, I've got heights to go to. I mean, me, Cara. You know, what's Cara? joking.
Yeah, he's not the runner of some wonderful establishments, one of which I earn a living in myself. So you're always welcome on a Wednesday, mate.
Thank you, Mo. It means a lot to me.
Robbo's back tomorrow. Best of luck, everyone. Up the Reds.